Part 1, the day everything changed. You wake up on a Tuesday morning expecting another ordinary day. Your alarm rings at 6:30. You make coffee. You scroll through your phone. Nothing feels different. The world outside your window is moving exactly as it did yesterday. Cars fill the streets. People rush to work. Emails are already piling up. It's just another normal morning. Or at least, that's what you think. By 9:14 a.m., your inbox lights up with a message marked, Mandatory Team Meeting, 9:30. No explanation, no agenda, just those 4 words. You barely think about it. Maybe it's another company update, maybe a new project, maybe another reminder about productivity. After all, you've been here for years. You've never missed a deadline. You've stayed late when everyone else went home. You've done everything they asked. So why would today be any different? At exactly 9:30, everyone joins the video call. The usual chatter is gone. No jokes, no small talk, only silence. Your manager appears on the screen, but something feels different. His smile is gone. His eyes keep drifting away from the camera. He takes a deep breath. Then he says the words you never imagined hearing. Over the past several months, we've been investing heavily in artificial intelligence to improve efficiency. Your stomach tightens. You don't know why. Not yet. He continues. As a result, several roles have become redundant. For a moment, your brain refuses to process what you just heard. Redundant? What does that even mean? Surely not your department. Surely not your team. Surely not you. Then your phone vibrates. Another email. You open it. Your hands suddenly feel heavier. We regret to inform you. That's all it takes. Years of loyalty, late nights, missed birthdays, weekend work, reduced to a few carefully written paragraphs. No dramatic music, no warning, no countdown, just a quiet email. And suddenly, your future feels uncertain. But here's what nobody tells you. The real shock isn't losing your job. It's realizing that the world kept moving as if nothing happened. Outside, cafes are still full. Traffic still crawls through the city. People still laugh on their lunch breaks. Yet inside your mind, everything has changed. On the train home, you replay every conversation you've had over the last year. The articles about AI, the headlines you ignored, the colleagues who joked that robots would never replace real professionals. You laughed too. It felt impossible. After all, machines couldn't think like people. They couldn't understand creativity. They couldn't make decisions. Or so you believed. Then you remember something strange. 6 months ago, your company quietly introduced an AI tool. At first, it only wrote emails. Then it summarized meetings. Soon it created reports in seconds. Everyone celebrated how much time it saved. No one asked the uncomfortable question. If AI keeps getting better, what happens to the people whose jobs depend on those tasks? It didn't happen overnight. That's the frightening part. Change rarely arrives like an explosion. It arrives like a whisper. One small update, one new software tool, one automated process, then another, and another, until one day, the job you've built your life around simply isn't needed in the same way anymore. This is where almost everyone makes the same mistake. They believe the email ended their career. But the email wasn't the beginning. It was the ending of a story that had already been unfolding for years. The signs were there. Most of us just didn't notice. Because humans are wired to believe tomorrow will look a lot like yesterday. It's comforting. It's familiar. But history has never worked that way. The Industrial Revolution changed farming. The internet transformed retail. Smartphones reshaped communication. And now, AI is reshaping knowledge work. Not because it's perfect. Not because it can do everything. But because it can do enough to change how businesses think. And businesses don't ask emotional questions. They ask economic ones. Can this be done faster? Can this be done cheaper? Can this be done at scale? Those questions have always driven progress. AI simply made the answers arrive sooner. As the days pass, your routine begins to disappear. The morning commute is gone. The calendar is empty. Your inbox falls silent. You update your CV. You send applications. You wait. Days become weeks. Weeks become months. Every rejection chips away at something deeper than confidence. It begins to change your identity. Because for years, when someone asked, "What do you do?" you had an answer. Now, you're not so sure. But what happened next changed everything. While millions of people were trying to get their old jobs back, a much smaller group was quietly building the future. And they all had one thing in common. They stopped asking how to survive, and started asking a far more powerful question. What opportunity does everyone else still refuse to see? Part 2, the mistake most people make. That question changes everything, not because it magically brings your job back. It doesn't. Not because it makes AI disappear. It won't. But because the moment you ask a different question, you begin looking at a different world. Most people never reach that point. Instead, they get stuck. The first few weeks feel like a temporary setback. You tell yourself the market will recover. Companies will realize AI isn't as good as people. Surely they'll start hiring again. So you wait. 1 week, then another. You refresh job boards every morning. You tweak your CV for the 10th time. You send out dozens of applications. Days pass without a reply. Then comes the interview. For a brief moment, hope returns. Maybe this is it. Maybe things are finally getting back to normal. But a few days later, another polite email arrives. We've decided to move forward with another candidate. The words are different. The feeling is the same. Here's the part almost everyone misses. The rejection isn't always about you. It's about the rules changing while you're still playing the old game. Many companies aren't just replacing people with AI. They're hiring fewer people because one person, equipped with AI, can now do the work that once required 3. A marketing team of 10 becomes 6. A design department shrinks in half. A customer service center handles twice the workload with intelligent assistants. The jobs haven't disappeared entirely. They've evolved. But here's what nobody tells you. When people feel threatened, they rarely adapt first. They defend what they already know. You see it everywhere. People blame technology. They blame politicians. They blame corporations. They blame younger workers. Anyone but themselves. It feels easier, because blaming something outside your control protects your identity. If AI is the villain, then you don't have to change. If the economy is broken, then waiting feels justified. If someone else caused the problem, someone else must fix it. It's comforting. It's also dangerous, because while you're waiting for yesterday to return, tomorrow keeps moving without you. This is where everything changes. Think about every major shift in history. When cars replaced horse-drawn carriages, many believed the automobile would never last. When online shopping emerged, thousands of shop owners dismissed it as a passing trend. When smartphones arrived, people laughed at the idea that they'd become essential. Each time, the pattern was the same. Most people resisted. A small group adapted. Years later, everyone wondered how they saw the future so clearly. The truth is, they didn't. They simply accepted reality sooner. That's a very different skill. One afternoon, you meet an old colleague for coffee. You expect to hear the same frustrations you've been carrying for months. Instead, something feels different. They seem calmer, lighter, even optimistic. You ask if they've found another job. They smile. Not exactly. They explain that after being laid off, they stopped spending every waking hour applying for roles that thousands of other people wanted. Instead, they spent that time learning how AI actually worked. At first, it felt overwhelming. Every day there was a new tool, a new update, a new headline. But instead of trying to master everything, they focused on one question: how can this technology make me more valuable? That single question changed the direction of their life. Within months, they weren't just using AI. They were helping businesses use it. The same companies that had reduced staff were now paying consultants to teach their remaining employees how to become more productive. It's ironic. The technology that took one opportunity created another. Most people never realized it because they were too busy staring at the door that had just closed. The real problem was never AI. The real problem was believing that the future owed you familiarity. It doesn't. The world has never made that promise. Every generation faces its own disruption. Your grandparents witnessed factories replacing manual labor. Your parents watched the internet transform entire industries. Now it's your turn. Not to survive the change, but to decide who you become because of it. And that's when a strange realization begins to settle in. Maybe losing your job wasn't the biggest risk after all. Maybe the biggest risk was refusing to evolve. Because somewhere, at this very moment, while millions of people are asking, how do I get my old life back? A much smaller group is asking a completely different question. What kind of life can I build now that the rules have changed? And those people are quietly positioning themselves to own the future. Because while everyone else sees AI as a replacement, they see it as leverage. Part 3. What rich people notice first. Leverage. It's a word you hear all the time in finance, but most people misunderstand what it really means. They think leverage is about borrowing money, taking bigger risks, making aggressive investments. Sometimes it is, but the wealthiest people in the world have always understood another kind of leverage. The kind that multiplies your time, your knowledge, your effort. And today, AI is becoming one of the most powerful forms of leverage ever created. Here's what almost everyone misses. When you lost your job, you saw AI as the competitor. The wealthy saw it as the employee. That tiny shift in perspective changes everything. Instead of asking, how do I compete with AI? They ask, how many things can AI help me do today? It's the same technology, but it's a completely different mindset. Picture two people sitting in identical rooms. Both have laptops, both have internet access, both have access to the same AI tools. The first person spends the day worrying, reading headlines, scrolling through social media, arguing in comment sections about whether AI is ruining the world. 8 hours disappear. Nothing changes. The second person opens the same laptop, but instead of debating the future, they begin building it. They ask AI to brainstorm business ideas. They use it to research markets. They create a website in an afternoon. They draft emails in minutes instead of hours. They learn skills that once took months to understand. By the end of the day, they haven't just consumed information. They've created value. That's the difference. One person is using technology for entertainment. The other is using it for leverage. And over time, that gap becomes enormous. But here's what nobody tells you. Rich people don't chase every new technology. They chase every new advantage. Years ago, that advantage was the internet, then smartphones, then social media. Now, for many industries, it's AI. Not because AI is magical, but because it removes friction. Imagine you're a small business owner. 5 years ago, you might have needed a graphic designer, a copywriter, a customer support team and a data analyst just to get started. Today, many of those tasks can be completed faster with AI, often by a much smaller team. Not perfectly, not without human judgment, but efficiently enough to free up time for higher value work. That's the opportunity. AI isn't replacing human ambition. It's amplifying human capability. This is where everything changes. The wealthy understand that every hour they save can be reinvested. An hour saved isn't just an hour. It's another client served, another product launched, another skill learned, another relationship built. Time is the one asset no one can create more of. So whenever a new tool helps them protect that asset, they pay attention. Think about someone who owns an online business. Instead of spending an entire day writing product descriptions, they use AI to create a first draft. Instead of analyzing spreadsheets manually, they use AI to identify patterns. Instead of answering the same customer questions repeatedly, they build an intelligent assistant that handles routine inquiries around the clock. Now they have something far more valuable than free time. They have capacity to think, capacity to innovate, capacity to solve bigger problems, and bigger problems usually come with bigger rewards. Most people spend their lives trading time for money. The wealthy spend their lives building systems that continue creating value, even while they sleep. That's why they don't just buy shares in companies. Sometimes they buy businesses. Sometimes they build digital products. Sometimes they create software. Sometimes they invest in creators who understand attention, because they know something most people overlook. Income pays your bills. Ownership builds your future. Here's the part almost everyone misses. The richest person in the room isn't always the smartest. They aren't always the hardest working either. Often, they simply own more of the things that create value. A business, a platform, a brand, a portfolio, a piece of intellectual property, or a system that keeps working long after they stop. That's why they aren't terrified every time technology changes. They've trained themselves to ask a different question. What can I own in this new world? Not, what job can I keep? There's a profound difference between those two questions. One is rooted in fear. The other is rooted in possibility, and possibility changes behavior. Instead of spending every evening worrying about the next redundancy, you begin learning how AI can support your existing skills. If you're a teacher, you learn how AI can help you create better lesson plans. If you're a marketer, you learn how to analyze campaigns more effectively. If you're an accountant, you automate repetitive tasks so you can focus on advising clients. If you're a designer, you use AI to explore ideas faster, while your creativity shapes the final result. Notice the pattern. You're not replacing yourself. You're upgrading yourself. The real competition isn't between humans and AI. It's increasingly between people who know how to work with AI, and people who refuse to. History has always rewarded those who adapt. The printing press didn't eliminate knowledge. It spread it. The internet didn't destroy opportunity. It reshaped it. AI is likely to do the same, but only for those willing to learn the new rules. And those rules have almost nothing to do with job titles. They have everything to do with value. Because in the years ahead, the people who thrive won't necessarily be the ones with the longest CVs. They'll be the ones who can solve meaningful problems, adapt quickly, and combine human judgment with intelligent tools. What happens next reveals the biggest shift of all. Because once you understand how the wealthy think, you realize they've quietly been following a completely different set of rules. Rules that are redefining money itself. And those new rules are already changing the future, whether you're ready or not. Part 4. The New Rules of Money. The strange thing about money is that the rules are always changing, but most people don't notice until it's too late. There was a time when simply getting a good degree was enough. Work hard, stay loyal, climb the corporate ladder, retire comfortably. For decades, that formula worked. Not perfectly, but well enough that millions of people built their entire lives around it. Today, that certainty is beginning to disappear. Not because education no longer matters, not because hard work has become useless, but because the world now rewards something different. Adaptability. This is where almost everyone misses the bigger picture. The real disruption isn't AI. The real disruption is that knowledge is becoming cheaper, while judgment is becoming more valuable. Years ago, knowing the answer made you valuable. Today, almost anyone can ask an AI assistant a question and receive a decent answer in seconds. So what becomes valuable now? Knowing which questions to ask, knowing which answers to trust, knowing how to make decisions when the information is incomplete. That's something AI can't simply hand you. It comes from experience, curiosity, critical thinking, and the courage to act. This is why job security is slowly giving way to skill security. A job belongs to a company. A skill belongs to you. A company can eliminate your role overnight. No one can take away your ability to solve problems. No one can take away your creativity. No one can take away your reputation. Those become your true safety net. But here's what nobody tells you. The wealthiest people don't rely on a single source of income. Not because they're greedy, because they understand risk. Imagine standing on one leg. As long as nothing goes wrong, you're fine. But one unexpected push, and you fall. Now imagine standing on both feet. You're stronger, more stable. Now imagine standing on 10. That's what multiple income streams feel like. If one slows down, the others keep you moving. That's why many wealthy people build digital assets instead of depending on a single paycheck. A YouTube channel, an online course, a newsletter, a software product, a book, a community, an investment portfolio, a small business. Each one may start small, some may fail, but together, they create resilience. And resilience is becoming one of the most valuable financial assets of this decade. This is where everything changes. The internet gave everyone access to information. AI is giving everyone access to productivity. But productivity alone doesn't create wealth. Ownership does. Think about two people. The first earns a salary by creating presentations every day. The second builds a presentation template once, sells it online, and thousands of people download it over the next few years. Both worked hard, but only one created something that could keep earning long after the work was finished. That's the difference between earning income and owning an asset. The wealthy are obsessed with this distinction, because they know time is limited. Assets aren't. The same idea applies to attention. Every day, billions of people spend hours scrolling through videos, reading posts, and listening to podcasts. Attention has become one of the world's most valuable currencies. Businesses compete for it. Creators build careers from it. Brands spend billions trying to capture it. If you learn how to create something people genuinely find useful, entertaining, or inspiring, you're no longer just consuming the attention economy. You're participating in it. And participation creates opportunity. But here's the part almost everyone misses. None of this requires becoming the next tech billionaire. You don't need to invent the next revolutionary AI model. You don't need millions of followers. You don't need a huge investment portfolio on day one. You simply need to start thinking differently. Instead of asking, how can I earn more this month? You begin asking, what can I build today that will still create value next year? That single question changes your decisions. It changes what you learn. It changes how you spend your evenings. It changes where you invest your energy. Because wealth isn't built in dramatic moments. It's built in quiet choices repeated over and over again. Learning one new skill. Publishing one useful piece of content. Saving before spending. Investing instead of consuming. Building instead of waiting. These actions seem insignificant at first. Until one day, they compound into a completely different life. That's the real power of AI. Not that it does the work for you, but that it removes barriers that once kept ordinary people from building extraordinary things. And if that's true, then the future doesn't belong to the people who fear change. It belongs to the people who learn to use it wisely. Because 5 years from now, the gap between those two groups may be wider than anyone expects. And that's exactly where your story could split into two very different futures. Part 5, Two Futures. 5 years from now, you wake up to another Tuesday morning. The alarm sounds exactly the same. The sun still rises, the kettle still boils, but your life looks completely different. Not because of luck, not because of talent, because of one decision. The decision you make today. Let's imagine the first future. You convince yourself AI is just another trend. You've seen technology come and go before. Surely this will settle down, so you keep doing what you've always done. You apply for the same kinds of jobs. You rely on the same skills. You wait for the market to return to normal. Months become years. Each new job pays a little less. Competition gets tougher. The interview process becomes more demanding. Employers expect candidates to know AI tools as a basic skill, just like using email or spreadsheets once became expected. You tell yourself you'll learn eventually, but eventually keeps moving. Meanwhile, younger professionals enter the workforce already comfortable using AI. Experienced workers reinvent themselves. Businesses evolve. The world keeps moving. You don't. One afternoon, you're sitting in a cafe. You overhear two people talking. One says, "Remember when everyone thought AI would take every job?" The other laughs. "No, it just changed them." You quietly look down at your coffee, because deep inside, you know the problem was never the technology. The problem was believing you had more time than you actually did. Now let's imagine a different future. The email still arrives. You still lose your job. You still feel scared. Nothing about the beginning is easier. But instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you ask, "What is this trying to teach me?" That one question changes everything. You spend the first month learning instead of panicking. You don't try to master every AI tool. You choose one, then another. You discover how they fit into the skills you already have. If you're a writer, you become faster. If you're a designer, you become more efficient. If you're in sales, you spend less time on paperwork and more time building relationships. If you're an entrepreneur, you automate repetitive tasks and focus on solving bigger problems. Little by little, your confidence returns. Not because the future is certain, but because you're becoming someone who can adapt to uncertainty. That's a far more valuable skill. A year later, you aren't just looking for opportunities. You're creating them. Maybe you launch a small online business. Maybe you start freelancing. Maybe you build a YouTube channel. Maybe you create digital products. Maybe you help local businesses integrate AI into their workflow. None of these ideas make you wealthy overnight. But they do something much more important. They put you back in control. And control is one of the greatest forms of financial freedom. Here's the part almost everyone misses. The wealthiest people aren't fearless. They feel uncertainty just like everyone else. The difference is, they act before they feel completely ready. Because they know confidence rarely comes first. Action does. Every skill you've ever admired once felt impossible. Every successful business started with uncertainty. Every investor made a first investment. Every creator published a first video. Every entrepreneur had a day when nobody believed in the idea except them. Progress has never belonged to people who waited until they felt prepared. It has always belonged to people willing to begin. The future has a strange way of rewarding those people. Not immediately. Not dramatically. Quietly. One decision. One lesson. One skill. One investment. One project. Until one day, people look at their success and call it luck. But you know better. You remember the Tuesday morning. The email. The fear. The uncertainty. You remember the moment your old life ended. Because it was also the moment your new one began. The truth is, AI isn't writing the future. People are. Some will use it to replace repetitive work. Others will use it to build businesses that didn't exist a few years ago. Some will fear it. Others will learn from it. The technology itself is neutral. What matters is how you respond. History has never rewarded those who resisted every change. It has rewarded those who learned how to navigate it. And perhaps that's the biggest lesson of all. AI isn't replacing everyone. It's changing the value of different skills. The people who continue learning, who continue adapting, who continue creating, will always have an advantage over those who refuse to evolve. So the question isn't whether AI is coming. It already has. The question isn't whether the future will be different. It will. The real question is this: when you look back 5 years from today, will you remember this moment as the day technology took something away from you? Or the day you finally decided to build something no one could ever take away? Because in the end, your greatest investment was never your job. It was always your ability to grow. And that's one asset no machine can own. If this story made you think differently about your future, let me know in the comments. What's one skill you'll start learning this year? If you enjoy cinematic stories about wealth, psychology, and the future of money, subscribe and join us for the next journey, because the biggest opportunities often appear long before most people notice them.